In this episode, I'm going to share with you three of the factors which holds anyone back, which holds anyone get stuck where they are. Most of them are not aware about these three factors. That is why they remain stuck with where they are. And not only that, I'm going to share with you the gap which also holds them back in where they are and makes them to just drift around without reaching their maximum potential. Because once if they get to know, then instead of working only on their 40% of potential, most of them can able to overcome these three factors and also the gap, and by means of that they become productive by enhancing to work based on their fullest 100% of potential. So stay tuned. Welcome to Pioneer Prosperity Movement. Here I am, Maddi, your host in front of you. And moreover, as I shared with you that today I'm going to take you into the three factors which holds you or any humans back, or which holds them back in where they are to remain stuck, and also the gap which holds them to drift around where they are without making them being productive with their fullest potential. So in that case, before getting into the topic, before getting into the main sharing about what I'm about to share with you, I'm going to take into one of my past story. Long story short, I'm not going to take much of your time, but I must tell this so that you can able to understand why I'm bringing this topic in front of you. So I born in India, and then whereas I lived in born in one of the state of India, southern part of India. And for the work purpose, once after my graduation, I moved from that part of India to the next state. Those who may or may not know about India, when you move from state to state, it's a different language because the Indian states are divided based on the language they speak basically, but also based on different other attributes as well. So when I moved to the different state, I was a foreigner. Even though I'm in the same country, I was a foreigner. Whereas I lived there for another 6.5 years. And then as a physiotherapist, it made. And then from there, I moved to Malaysia. And in Malaysia, I lived there for nearly 7 years, almost 7 years. So why I'm telling this story, I will link with you later, So I lived in Malaysia for 7 years. So lived in Malaysia for 7 years. Most of you may or may not know, Malaysia is more of Islamic country. Even though it's a freedom-based country, but it's more of Islamic country where people speak their Malay language, and most of them even know about one of the Indian national language called as Hindi. And even in India, one of the main Indian national language is Hindi. So whereas we back and speak a different language. So when I moved from India from one of the state where I lived to other state where I worked, where even I was there for nearly 6.5 years, even though that state has a different mother tongue, whereas majority of the people speak Hindi. And when I moved from India to Malaysia, again, majority of the people speak Hindi, but still I don't know how to speak Hindi. So why I'm telling all this? Because back in my childhood, my father was a Hindi Protestant. It means our state is completely below, it means completely in the down south of India, which is called as Tamil Nadu. So my mother tongue is Tamil, but besides that, we have learned English in the school, and our mother tongue is Tamil. Whereas my father is a serious Hindi Protestant. So it has got so much ingrained deep into my mind. So even though I moved from one state to the other state, where majority of that state, with the other state, I mean to say, Andhra Pradesh, but now that state has been divided into 2 or 3. I'm not sure about it because I came out of India nearly 23 years back, actually, I would say. So in that state, there's that mother tongue of that state is Telugu, but still, majority of that state, Andhra Pradesh people speak Hindi, but still I didn't learn Hindi. I learned Telugu. I learned to speak Telugu and live there speaking Telugu with the locals. But I didn't learn Hindi, which is one of the major national language of India. And I live in a place called as a small town called as Warangal. When I go to Hyderabad, which is a major city, many of them may or may not know about it. So when I go to, it's just around 100 kilometers where me and my wife go by motorbike, so to travel around, because we love to go around bike, travel around. So when I go to Hyderabad for any of our personal reasons, travel reasons, I don't speak to anyone because 99% of the people will speak Hindi there. Even if you speak Telugu, they reply in Hindi. So I don't know for what reason it is like that. So in that case, I'm completely foreigner. When I go to the capital of Andhra Pradesh, that time, Hyderabad, I don't speak at all. Whereas my wife who speaks Hindi can talk to them. So what I'm going to say here is, even though I'm in that kind of compelling environment, still I didn't put myself to learn Hindi, but at the same point of time, I learned another language to speak. That is nothing but Telugu. Why I didn't learn Hindi is nothing but because of my childhood memories, because of my past. The reason because my father is a Hindi Protestant, serious Hindi Protestant, that ingrained deep into me for some reason. And because of that, even though I got many opportunities to learn Hindi, mom knows Hindi, my father even knows Hindi, he learned about Hindi language, but still he is a serious Hindi Protestant. And since he was an Hindi Protestant, it got ingrained so much deep into me, a bit of an aversion to learn that specific language. And even when I went to other state, I lived there for 7 years. There are so many of compulsions and so many of opportunities to learn Hindi, but because of my past childhood memory, even though the opportunity came in front of me, I didn't make use of it. And when I moved from that state to another country called as Malaysia, where most of them speak again Hindi, being an Islamic country, still I didn't learn to speak Hindi. Why? Because of my past childhood memories, which got so much ingrained deep into my mind. I'm a bit aversion of. I always stay away from that language named Hindi. I still watch Hindi movies with my wife, but I didn't learn Hindi at all. So much I got stuck to the past. So I'll tell you why I'm telling all these things. Okay, now getting back to the topic. You must understand that even though we got many opportunities in front of us, whereas when we get so much attached to our past, we don't make use of the opportunity. So getting back to the topic, I relate it why I'm telling that story to you now. 3 factors. The gap I will tell you later, I will share with you later. The 3 factors which holds the people back, which holds the people to get stuck in where they are. The number 1 top most important factor is nothing but a person who has got attached to the past stories, past life, past memories, or past trauma. The more and more we get attached to the past memories or stories or past life or past trauma, we get stuck there. That's it. That's what happened to me. That's why I told you the story before itself, to give you an idea about where I'm coming into, what I'm coming into. It means when we get stuck so much into the past, even though many of the opportunities, potential opportunities which comes in front of us, we don't make use of it. Because with that kind of limited belief which we hold on to the past, we don't make use of the opportunity. We see the opportunity as a threat, or we see the opportunity as not as an opportunity, but not as it is, but as we are. We are holding on to so much of past memories, past stories, and limited beliefs. So we don't see the opportunity as it is, but we see the opportunity as we are, get stuck into the past. By means of that, we don't make use of the opportunity. Rather, we get stuck so much on the past life, or to the past memories. My aunt did say, I mention about it. My mom did mention about it. My father did mention about it. When? 30 years back or 20 years back. Even until now, I don't know Hindi. Do you believe it? I didn't learn Hindi at all. Even though I got many opportunities to learn Hindi, still I am not learning Hindi. But I can live here, of course, now I can speak English, so I can live here. So in that case, not much of compulsion as I faced much in India and also in Malaysia. Here, not much of compulsion. So that's fine. So when you are so much stuck to the past, eventually we will not make use of the opportunity, anything come in front of us. Rather, we don't see the opportunity as it is. We see the opportunity as a threat. And we see the opportunity as we are. Why? We get so much stuck into the past. Do you think that is where we grow? No. We won't be successful at all. Why? I can give a very simple example. Say if you are driving from destination A to destination B, because I love driving. We family love to travel, and we did many road trips across Australia and even in Malaysia as well. We traveled a lot, one and only by means of driving. Even when I went from Malaysia, when I lived in Malaysia, I went from Malaysia to Bali, which is in Indonesia, and also to Phuket, which is in Thailand. Actually, many of them would have been there. Even there, I don't take any public transport. I better hire a car and I drive by myself. I love driving. How many of you can resonate to it, right? So in that case, when you're driving from destination A to destination B, do you see what's coming up front, or do you see the rear view mirror? What do you see? Because you can see, yes, obviously we're going to see the in front, right? But if majority of your time, if you're watching the rear view mirror, rather than watching in front, do you go properly? Do you drive properly forward? No, right? It's not possible. Similarly, when we are going forward in our life, if we see the rear view mirror, which is nothing but the past, even though we slowly may or may not move forward, who knows? We maybe just remain be there, in driving. Or we may be slowly cruising like a tortoise, right? When we are just watching majority of our time on the rear view mirror about the past, which we get hold on to or stuck to, do you think that we get that momentum? Do you think that we get that kind of fullest, we drive with our fullest potential? No, we don't even accelerate much, because most of our time we are watching the rear view mirror but not looking forward. Similarly, when we get so much attached to the past, we don't use our maximum potential. What we use only between 30 to 40% of our potential. And we get stuck with where we are or where we were, but we don't move forward at all. So in that case, one must let go of the past only by means of that they see the opportunity as it is, but not as they are. So the number one factor is nothing but the past. And number two, the second most important factor which I am going to share with you is nothing but fear. Fear is nothing but false evidence appearing real. It's an illusion. Fear is an illusion. That's it. Fear itself is an illusion. False evidence appearing real. Since it is an illusion, it just creates an anxiety about what may happen in future. It may not happen at all. That's why it is an illusion. False evidence appearing real in front of you. And moreover, you may or may not know, our mind is, as you know, it's a very powerful organ. But at the same time, it is a survival organ. And it seeks always a negativity. Why? It makes us to conserve. It makes us to conserve the energy, store the energy, and to make us to survive in where we are. So in that case, it creates so much of negative thoughts, and negative feelings, and negative emotions, which causes the fear and eventually dampens our action, our potential. So now, because of that, it causes lots of fear of failure, fear of success even, and fear of focusing on what we lose. Oh, if I do this, what if it happens? If I might lose it, I might fail here. What if I fail? If I do this, what if I fall? If I do this, what if this happens to me? or to my kids or to my younger ones or to my family. Likewise, even though it's not happening now, it's never going to happen even. It's an illusion. But if the mind does create loads and loads of negative thoughts, because the thoughts create feelings, feelings creates emotions, emotions creates action, and eventually the fear dampens your potential, dampens your action. It will not let you to act on your fullest potential. And it's not possible to be fearless. It is not at all possible. Anyone will be having a fear. But the successors will make use of the fear. That's why there's a proverb saying that use the fear before it uses you. Use the fear before the fear consumes you, uses you. So make use of the fear. That's what I'm about to say. Make use of the fear. If you're about to do something which you are not known about it, unknown completely, or not certain about it, it means you're completely uncertain about it. Yes, fear pops up. Whenever the fear pops up, even though there is a fear, even though the thing's uncertain or unknown, if it aligns with you, but even though you're having the fear inside, if you have the palpitations, oh, what if this match happen? What if I fail? What if people don't validate me? Blah, 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 blah stuffs. Do not even validate that fear. Use the fear before the fear uses you. Use the fear as a motivator. And by means of overcoming the fear, that is where you push through the fear, learn through the fear, go through the fear, because any progress, any growth, or your success is on the other side of the fear. So make use of the fear before it uses you. And always ensure that fear should not stop you. So that is the most important, the second factor that you must be aware about. So do not let your fear to stop you and to remain stuck with where you are. Rather, make use of the fear. Use the fear before it uses you. Can't be fearless. Everyone will be having a fear. But how we make use of the fear rather than the fear using us, rather than the fear making us to stuck where we are with our limited belief, with our past memories, with our past stories. We are not going to grow forward. We are not going to grow forward. We must push through, learn through, grow through fear. That is where the growth happens. So any growth, any progress, any success is on the other side of the fear. If we hold ourselves back by means of fear on this side, no one can grow or progress and succeed in their life. Any success if they take, any successes around the globe if you take, they all have those fear. Still they're having that fear, but they believe themselves. They believe their self-belief and doubt their self-doubt, and by means of that, they will find a strategy, creative strategy to use that fear as a motivator by pushing through, by going through, by learning through, and by growing through. That is where they progress and succeed in that life. So do not ever let your fear to hold you back. Number 2. And number 3, the most common factor which I'm going to share with you. Distraction. Distractions are one of the most commonest factor in the present digital modern world. Distractions. Focus. In the previous episode, if I'm not mistaken, in the last but not the previous episode, I mentioned about the focus. How far person's focus has reduced to around 8 seconds. Just around 8 seconds only. Beyond 8 seconds, the person gets distracted to something else. It means that much as an average, it has reduced from 12%, it has reduced to 8% within this short period of time. 25% of person's focus has been reduced in the few decades. Isn't it shocking? Yes, it is. I've shared with you that if you haven't heard about that episode, you must listen and watch that episode about focus. Definitely, it gives loads and loads of insights and shocking information where I provided so much of statistical and survey-based evidences as well. So, distractions which comes by all means, by means of any external noises, based on what we watch, by using our 5 physical senses, based on what we watch, through our eyes, what we listen through our ears, and what we eat. Likewise, by using our 5 physical senses, always in this fast-paced modern digital technology, it always disturbs us. It always will not let us to focus on whatever we are after. It always makes us to get distracted, either towards instant gratification or a shiny ball syndrome. Oh, this looks good for me. Wow, that is much more better than that. Oh, this is much more better than that. I think this is beautiful. Oh, this is looking great. Why can't we shift here and there? And it will make the person to just pop here and there, rather than to stuck on to one thing and put all their focus, laser focus on whatever they are after, whatever they are dreaming for, whatever they are aiming to achieve. Rather than that, because of all these external noises which a person receives through their 5 physical senses, it will make them to distract. But here we should not develop that kind of victim mindset to blame those external noises. Rather, to overcome that, what we must do is we must make use, or we must take the complete ownership and responsibility of ourselves to eliminate or to cut down those external noises, or to align our 5 physical senses. Once by means of aligning our 5 physical senses, we know exactly and consciously what are all the external noises which are distracting us. And more, we cut down those external noises which are distracting us. That is where we tend to pay attention, pay more focus, laser focus on whatever we do. Because we should not have a victim mindset. Oh, because of this I couldn't able to focus. Because of that noise I couldn't able to focus. Because of the visual I couldn't able to focus. We don't have that. We should not have that victim mindset. Because that's not going to be more productive. That's not going to take us to where we are aiming to go for. Alright? So in that case, one must take a complete ownership and responsibility to cut down, to limit, to eliminate even the external noises by means of aligning our body, mind and soul, and aligning our 5 physical senses. And by means of that, we can able to pay more attention, more focus, laser focus on whatever we are after. That is where it is going to enhance the person's complete, fullest 100% of potential. And otherwise, because of various distractions which is happening around, what happens? Eventually, a person pay attention on 20% here, 20% here, 20% there, 20% there, 20% there. See, the 100% is dispersed around, is distributed around. Do you think the person will be productive? A person will be busy, but not productive. That's what's happening in the modern world. Many people are doing multitasking. Even that I shared with in the previous episode. Many people are involved in multitasking. I can very well resonate to it. Early, before I was a physio, I used to do a lot of DIY projects whenever there is a time. And I used to do, I learned guitar as well. And I was a photographer. I'm still a photographer. I love photography than my profession even. And I used to dance. And at the same time, I hang out with my friends. And of course, I drink a lot during the weekends. And I lavishly spend most of my time as well. See how far I got distracted. Is it the environment to be blamed? No. Whereas I've taken my responsibility to narrow down my focus to one thing, what I'm after, rather than doing DIY and then physio and afterwards also photography, fitness and guitar, blah, blah, blah. No, I narrowed down it. The once after I narrowed down to one single thing, now I got back my freedom, which is time freedom. The reason because I focused on that one thing which is providing me the freedom, and because of that, I focus on fullest potential. I take an action on my fullest 100% of potential, and followed by that, I achieved my time and location freedom, which I haven't achieved in the past 23 years. Why? I got distracted. Oh, that looks good. This house looks good. This car looks good for me. This guitar looks good for me. That something or the other thing, like always I get distracted. When we get distracted, eventually lose focus. We spend energy like distributed to all the things. When we distribute the energy to all the things, because wherever the focus goes, energy flows. That's it. So in that case, if your focus is on multiple number of things, say people call as multitasking. Yes, I used to be a multitasker. When we focus on multitasking, eventually your energy will be distributed to evenly to everything, or based on your priority, you could say. When the energy is distributed, do you think that you will become productive, effective, and efficient, or you will just be busy? That is why, even in my business, when I'm asking many people across, many people are saying that I don't have time, I'm getting stressed, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting so tired, I'm having so much of headache, I don't know where the time flies. Why? Reason because they're spending or they are spending most of the energy by distributing the energy to various things. Multitasking. Multitasking looks good for a shorter time period, but for a longer time period, it will affect one's potential and one's productivity, and it will make the person to remain where they are, to remain stuck with where they are with their least potential, but not with the maximum potential at all. So, for a longer run, multitasking will not work out. It will not make you to become more productive. Rather, it will make any person to become busy with where they are. They will say, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. I don't have time to do this. But they will give false promises to so many things. They give yes to so many things. And the reason behind it, I will share it in the upcoming episode. Whereas they give yes to so many number of things, and also they will end up in doing so many number of things, but not with their fullest potential, but maybe with that 20 to 40% of potential, because that energy is coming from again. It gets evenly distributed based on their priority when they are multitasking. So, distraction is one of the factors which holds a person to where they are, but not taking them to where they can be. Distraction is the one thing which is not making the person to pay their fullest attention with their laser focus. And the means of that, they remain stuck with where they are. How many of you can resonate to it? I can very well resonate to it. Of course, because in my past, even 2 years back, I was a multitasker. I used to do DIY. I used to do landscaping. I used to do decking at my home. I say that I love to do it. How many of you can resonate to it? I love to do it. But that love, you can spend in whatever you are so much aligned to, or so much making you to productive. That is the one which is making you to more effective and efficient. If you are doing the things what someone else can do for you, that is if we are spending majority of our time, or even so limited amount of time where someone else can do for you, then where do you get the time where only you can spend time for you? Say for example, everyone has got 24 hours, alright? If I'm doing things which I love to do, but someone else can do for me, then on the other hand, everyone has got same 24 hours. Who will take my wife for a date? Or who will spend time with my kids? Can I appoint someone to do that? No. To be with my family and to be here for myself and to be with my wife, only I can do it. I can't appoint someone else here, alright? That is the root cause that is the root for the family, where I need to be present. I have to be there. I must be there. I love to be there. But at the same time, if I distract myself with something other than that, where do we get the time? Even though I love to do these DIY projects, but if someone can do it, what I can do? I can hire a person. When I can hire a person without getting distracted, they will do that. But without getting distracted, I myself can do the necessary things to have the freedom of life to be with my family by myself, all by myself. That is what happened to me in my life as well. For the past nearly 23 years, I was so much distracted. I'm not here to blame anything else. I've taken my complete responsibility to tune, to narrow down my focus. I cut out so many number of things, even though I love to do it. I even temporarily stopped doing the photography as well. But now I got getting back. Well, you know why? Because I got back my time freedom through the business of what I'm doing. Why? I stopped doing multitasking. I completely stopped doing a DIY, even though I love to work with the decking and the carpentry. but I didn't do it. I stopped doing it because someone else can do for me. The landscaping someone else can do for me. But who can be with my wife and my kids? Only me. And who can be for myself to work hard on myself? Only me. So cut down all the distractions. Without any distraction, focus on yourself, work hard on yourself, focus on your family. And that is where the productivity is. So you will not be busy. Rather, you will become productive in whatever you do. You will become effective and efficient in whatever you do, because that is where the freedom of life is. And that is where you tend to optimize and maximize your potential. And you tend to act on your fullest 100% of potential. Because the more and more we do the things of so many number of things, we may not know our infinite potential at all. Do not ever underestimate yourself by doing so many number of things. If you do that one thing which resonates deep into you, which only you can do for yourself and only you can do for your family, and that is where you tend to maximize your potential without any distractions. You tend to pay more attention, laser focus on one of that, and by means of that, when you're obsessed towards it and get committed towards it, that is where the growth, that is where the progress, that is where the success is. You got it, right? That's fine. So these are the three factors. And now I'm going to share with you one other important thing, the gap. The gap which holds people back. Okay, now you know all the three factors. All right, what else can do? Okay, might make it happen. That's fine. So the gap is nothing but the gap between the thinking and the action. Now you know everything. Now you are processing it, everything in your mind. You're processing it. But when it comes to action, are you an action taker? Are you a go-getter? You must ask yourself that. You know why I'm telling this? The reason because many of them stuck with about thinking level itself, but they don't take an action. You know why? Because they think and think and think and think and comprehend so many number of things. They will take all this information. They'll comprehend so many number of informations. They will read so many number of books. They will receive. They'll just be a receiver. Always, all the time. But when it comes to action, they don't take an action. You know why? Because of the gap they leave between the gap they form or they leave between the thinking and the action. When they leave huge amount of gap, eventually they can't take action. They will never take an action at times because they end up in overthinking, overreaction, complicating it. You know why again? Getting back to what I said before, what I shared with you before, our human brain is such a powerful but survival organ right from the caveman. It always seeks for negativity. It always seeks for the fear. Why? It tends to make you to conserve your energy where you are. It tends to make you to survive. But that survival itself is enough for your growth or for your progress or for your success. Right? You know that, right? So in that case, when you think something which aligns with you, or when an opportunity comes in front of you, and if it does align with you, you know that deep in your subconscious mind, in your heart and in your gut, you know that. But if you let it pass, if you don't take an action, the moment you think, immediately, without even a gap, immediately you must take an action, whether you know the information is 100% or not. As long as you know 30 to 40% of information about what is aligned with you, you should make an action immediately. That is what most of the successors do. You know what they do? The successors will not leave more than 60 seconds gap. The time gap. I mean to say the time gap. The successors will make any decision and action. Whenever they think and make a decision, they take an action immediately within 60 seconds. Many of them will say, I am thinking about it. I decided already. But who is actually taking action? Only least percent of people. That least percent of people are the one who are 5% of successes around the globe in any of the field you take. So, are you just a decision maker and thinker, or are you an action taker? The action takers are the one who are successes. The action takers are the one who understood this formula. So what they do, as I said before, the moment they think about it, the moment they decide about it based on their believing their own self-belief, they take action immediately. They take that massive leap daringly and courageously within a minute, within a 60 seconds. And those are the people who will succeed in their life. So are you a successor? Are you an action taker? Are you a go-getter? How much of amount of time that you take? How much of the amount of time gap that you leave between your thinking a decision to your action? The more and more the time gap that you leave between your decision and thinking and your action, the more and more you delay your growth, you delay your progress, you delay your success. So what is your time gap between your thinking, decision and action? Always consciously be aware about it. Do not leave more than 60 seconds. If you leave more than 60 seconds, that is where, because of the neurophysical reaction, is a neurophysiological reaction in your mind, the hormones will secrete, and followed by that, it will take you into the negative thoughts, and eventually it will dampen your potential. It will hold you back with where you are. Even though even though the thing that you have seen, even though the opportunity is so much aligned with you, deep in your heart, deep in your gut, you feel the palpitation inside you. You feel the rumbling of your gut inside you. You know that is going to work out for you. But just because of the gap that you leave, the time gap that you leave between your action and the decision making, because of the time gap, the fear kicks in. Once if the fear kicks in, eventually you will find all the negative questions, all the negative cues not to execute. Correct? Because your mind tends to lead you in the survival state, to remain where you are, to remain familiar with where you are, to remain comfortable with where you are, but that is not where the growth happens. The growth will happen only when you execute it, only for a person who take action, who is a go-getter. So in that case, do not leave a time gap more than 60 seconds. Whenever the thinking comes into your mind, whenever an opportunity comes in front of you, whenever you decide about it, even though if you don't know about your 100% of the information, that's why, as long as you know a certain part of it, certain core factual information of it, you must take a leap by believing your self-belief, but not believing your self-doubt. Doubt your self-doubt, but believe your self-belief. But by believing your self-belief, you must take the action immediately, within less than a minute. You must take an action the moment you think, which if it aligns with you, the moment you decide, take a massive step. One brick at a time, but massive leap. The action is the one which is going to move you forward. So take one action. Take that one massive leap. The moment you take that action, the same conscious mind will give all those kind of creative thoughts for you to act on your fullest potential. The same conscious mind which held you back before, the moment you have taken an action, now the same conscious mind will tell you all those creative cues to you to do it, rather than holding you back. How beautiful our mind, right? So, it is you to take that complete ownership and responsibility to make use of the fear and to let go of your past and to pay more attention and laser focus and obsess towards where you are doing or what you are going to achieve. And do not leave any time gap more than 60 seconds, more than a minute. The moment you think and decide, take action immediately, massively. One massive leap, because action is the one which is going to move you forward. Got it now? You got it right. So in that case, now you know the 3 factors. Overcome all these 3 factors. Do not leave any time gap. And by means of that, you will tend to live the life to the fullest. So let's all succeed together. Here I am, Maddi, in front of you. Let's see you in the next episode. So in the Pioneer Prosperity Movement. Until then, let's all succeed together. Bye.